from Robert Gordon University, Aberdeen, UK. Now, I am Megha Malhotra. I'm the country manager for Robert Gordon University, and we are absolutely excited to bring this wonderful session today to offer you more insight about how are the prospects in the UK when you come to employability, placement, internships, etc. Now, before we dive into our session, I would like to thank IDP team to arrange this session for us and give us this opportunity to bring in my team along. I would like to share a few facts about Robert Gordon University, rather a few things about Robert Gordon University before we dive into our session. Now, Robert Gordon University is a public funded university going back to 1729, which makes it almost 300 years old as an institution. We offer more than 300 programs at both UG and PG level, which includes different areas from architecture to business to computing to engineering, pharmacy, life sciences, etc. Now, very interestingly, RGU has also been named as the Scottish University of the Year and ranked second in the UK and top 50 in the world by the QS Employability Ranking 2020. Now, today with me, I have my wonderful team of Employability Hub. I have Will Ritchie and Fiona Kennedy, who will be taking you forward in the session. Over to you, Will.
Hi, everybody, and a very warm welcome from Aberdeen here in Scotland. And it's a pleasure that you can join us for this session. I appreciate that it's at the end of your working day in India. For myself and Fiona, it's halfway through our day, so it's we've still got half the day to go before we can have our evening break in that. I'd like to thank Megha for arranging this for everybody and for supporting us in preparing for this session. In discussion on how we were going to run this session with Megha, what we agreed is that we would talk through as a kind of discussion more than a formal presentation, because I quite like to be informal and chatty and approachable. A range of points, and we've discussed a range of points, and I'm sure Megha has circulated that to you in advance of today's session. Okay, so my job today will be to run through a discussion around those kind of points, and then at the end of that discussion, the formal part of the day, then my colleague Fiona Kennedy will join me, and we are at that point more than happy to take any questions, concerns, issues, give you advice, information around any of the kind of topics that we cover in today's presentation, or wider career stroke employability topics around there. Okay. Now, the first point that we agreed with Megha around what you might be interested in finding out about in terms of how we support international students at RGU was looking at the support that is dedicated to international students to encourage them to engage with their career planning, to understand and develop their employability. And what we do at RGU, I think, is quite unique. We actually don't wait until you've actually arrived on course in country and actually started your course. We actually look to provide you with support as soon as you've actually enrolled and confirmed your offer with Robert Gordon University. We have, over the summer, we've been busy updating our careers pre-arrival guide for international students, which is jam-packed full of top-level advice, information, how to get yourself started thinking about your career, how you're going to capitalise on your degree with us, so that when you actually arrive in country with us, you can actually hit the ground running and you're familiar with the top level ideas, the top level concepts, the top level actions that's going to help propel you and your career forward through your studies with us here at RGU. We also, on arrival, we don't just do pamphlets and online activities. We actually arrange a couple of welcome sessions, career welcome sessions for all new international students at the university, where we actually invite all new international students to come along to find out more dedicated information about the careers team, the employability hub, how you can access our services, what support is available to you, so that you actually have an understanding and confidence in actually being able to access the support that's available to you. And I think that's one of the key points. We want to be welcoming. We want to actively encourage our international students to access the support that's available to make the most of their kind of career journey that they have with us here at our RGU. Okay. Every course just about at RGU will have a dedicated careers input actively built into the course delivery, whether that's part of a professional development module or whether that's part of a another development module that you're actually undertaking, there will be a dedicated careers advisor who has responsibility for that course, who will come in and deliver key information about employability, about careers, about personal development, about job seeking, about applications, focus completely towards that kind of course or discipline area that you're actually studying with. And that is continuous through your study program, okay? However, we understand that people might want extra information, they want extra advice. So these course sessions, these course programs are actually supplemented by the opportunity to come along to open career sessions that we run on a weekly basis. And that's open to anybody who's a member of the RGU community to come along to. We have a team of 5 dedicated, professionally qualified careers consultants who are all highly experienced in higher education and first-level graduate, first-level professional careers. And we have an open door policy for individual students to come and meet with us on a one-to-one basis to discuss through their individual situation, their individual ambitions, to work with them in developing an individual action plan for them, to help them see how they are going to move forward in a staged and structured a way so that they can actually realise their ambitions towards the end of their studies with us here at RGU. And that can cover things like options and ideas, it can cover things like vacancy sourcing, application processes, interview technique, any of these kind of core employability stroke careers activities. We also are very much aware that international students are often concerned about their right to remain in the UK after their studies in terms of the visa and immigration rules and regulations, which can be a bit of a movable feast that changes all the time. And what we've done here is on our careers information platform, eHub, we have a dedicated section for international students which looks through and gives quite detailed and up-to-the-minute advice and information on the international students' right to remain in the UK, to take advantage of different visa streams, different right to work schemes, post-study work, etc. And that is supplemented by dedicated workshops around that kind of area as well. So we work with you in understanding your visa situation for work in the UK post your studies. We also can help work with employers to help them understand how they can actually recruit international talent from RGU into their organisations as well. Okay. On top of that, all our students, home students and international students, have full access to our eHub platform, which is our online careers information, advice and tools platform, where they have 24/7 access to support around CVs, application forms, interview technique, assessment centre technique, all these kind of things around there. And we actively encourage students to register as soon as they have a live login to the RGU system, to register with eHub so that they can take full advantage of the information, advice, support and tools that's available to them on there. Now, we're not saying do that and you won't need to come and speak to an individual careers advisor. What we're actually saying is if you do some work on the eHub before you meet with an individual careers advisor, you would potentially get a lot more out of that session with a careers advisor, and you would feel that that careers advisor has been able to move you, your ideas, your ambitions, your job search significantly much further forward than if you've just turned up blindly for a one-to-one session with a careers advisor. Okay. What I want to do now is move on and talk a little bit about COVID-19's impact on the graduate job market, particularly for international students. I'll try to put a flavour on particularly for international students, but COVID-19 has impacted the job market for everybody. However, I think what I would want to put across as a main point to everybody in today's audience is that the impact, certainly within the UK context of COVID-19 and the economic downturn, in terms of the graduate labour market, in terms of graduate traineeships, in terms of first level professional positions, that the impact has been much less than people have predicted. It's been much less than has been hyped and mediated in the media and social media and things like that. When we've actually sat down and taken a cold look at the research, a cold look at the data that's coming out from graduate recruitment, first level professional recruitment in the UK, what we've actually discovered, and this is backed up by research data, is that the market for graduates in the UK throughout the entire pandemic has been operating at 70% plus of its pre-pandemic capacity. And what we've actually discovered is that what's actually happened is that the pandemic has actually impacted much more on people who are operating in low-level skill jobs. And also it's impacted at the other end of the scale as well, people who are operating in sort of like middle to senior management type roles within there. Those have been impacted on quite considerably. But the core first level entry graduate traineeships, first level professional positions, which our graduates from undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications will typically access, that has remained relatively buoyant. What we've actually discovered on top of that, though, is that the way that employers are actually recruiting has actually changed quite significantly. It used to be that employers would advertise in a range of sources, a range of platforms, a range of media outlets, a range of websites, etc., and actively encourage people to apply. They would set out their market stall with their opportunities and be quite keen for people to visit their stall and apply for things. What we've actually discovered, and what we think the trend is that's moving forward, is that the jobs are still there, employers are still actively recruiting, but the way that they're recruiting is much more hidden. So you're much less likely these days to find opportunities that are actively advertised on job boards, on media sources, etc. What employers seem to be doing is that they are relying on students to be much more networked, to be much more forward thinking and proactive to the market, and actually approach employers directly to inquire about possible opportunities. And employers are tending to favour this kind of proactive approach, that they're looking for somebody who has got the motivation, the interest, the skill, the confidence to approach the employer directly and inquire about opportunities. That's impressing the employer, and that inquiry about opportunity is fast tracking candidates to interviews and appointments within that kind of area. What we're kind of suggesting to our student population at the moment in terms of how do I actually understand and work with that is, yes, still use traditional vacancy sources. I mean, there will still be organisations who are out there actively advertising in the open market, but you can't rely on that anymore. You have to be networking with companies, you have to be making yourself known to companies, you have to have a good social media profile, a good LinkedIn profile, so that you can connect with the organisations, you can connect with people in the organisations to push yourself forward to these organisations for opportunities, and also for organisations and companies to find you easily. And when they find you on social media, they're actually impressed by your profile, they're impressed by how you talk about yourself, they're impressed by the qualification, the skill, the experience that you're able to talk about and deliver in evidence for yourself around that kind of area. Okay. So yeah, it's about targeted approaches. And what we're actually working with as well is connecting and making much more use of our alumni network and our alumni database to actually bring opportunities through our alumni connections, through our alumni database, back to RGU, so that we can actually enhance and promote those directly to our current international students in that area as well. Okay. And as I said, and I think the important thing as well is about not just you being proactively going out there and engaging with the market as a student, and that's where a lot of students are getting their jobs from, but it's about that social media presence, it's about that networking presence, it's about being able to be found effectively by employers who are trolling, for want of a better description, websites, social media platforms, to identify people that they want to connect with and encourage to apply for their opportunities. So I mean, top level in there, yes, undoubtedly COVID-19 has impacted on the market, but much less so that for people who are graduating from university at either undergraduate or postgraduate level. 70% capacity through the entire pandemic, that employers are still recruiting in large numbers, but the way that the recruiting has significantly changed. Move away from advertised opportunities, although some organisations, many organisations are still doing that. But the top trick these days is to actively promote yourself through social media, through networking, through direct connection, and inquire directly about opportunities that are actually there. Okay. The next point that we were asked to talk about was opportunities for students to upskill their employability in this current time. We, as a response to the pandemic, this didn't sit and let it happen. We actually challenged our students to actually step up their game in response to the pandemic and its potential impact. And one of the key things that we've actually done in terms of supporting students and upskilling their employability is designed and developed and operationalized the RGU Employability Enhancement Award. And that's available to all students. It's actively encouraged by our academic community that students should follow this program as part of their development here at RGU. And the Employability Enhancement Award is a structured online learning program that covers all the key topics and areas around effective and professional career planning, from self-awareness and understanding what you have to offer the world of work, to looking at options and ideas, to looking at sourcing vacancies, to applications, CVs, application forms, interviews, assessment centres, but also looking at how you actually make a positive impression in the workplace when you actually get that job. How do you actually manage your career forward when you've got that first step back into the graduate market around there? Okay, it's online and people can work through it at their own pace. But what we have actually done is we've actually put a kind of nominal timescale on that people can follow if they want to be that structured. And if they follow that time frame throughout their studies with us, each of the individual topic areas in the award is supported by workshops that are delivered by myself and my careers consultant colleagues that match up with the particular topics at particular times during the session as well. Okay. Yeah, you can work at it through at your own pace. You can follow it as a course program, and if you follow it as a course program, for every module that you complete, you get a university employability certificate, and if you complete the full award, you actually get a gold certificate and a LinkedIn employability badge from the Robert Gordon University that you can link to your LinkedIn profile or to other social media platforms that encourages employers to see you as somebody who is keenly interested in their career, somebody who's developed skills, etc. For moving that forward. And we think it is a significant benefit to our students. The first year that we run it, the first year of the pandemic, we had about 800 students actually complete the full award and benefit from that online learning activity within there. And we are enhancing and developing that as we go through. Although we actively encourage our students to do it as a full learning program, the award is also available as a dip in and out activity. If they're only interested in one topic or they're only interested in one area, they don't have to follow the full award, although we encourage it. They can just dip into the bit that is of particular interest, particular need to them as they move forward. Okay. We also, on our eHub platform, it's not, as I said, it's primarily about careers and about job search and about applications and about finding work. But within that, we also have a business skills area. And we have short micro courses, short modules on a whole range of first level business skills in terms of delivering professional presentation, engaging in first level negotiations and collaborations, business literacy and numeracy, leadership models, personal development, time management, mentoring skills, etc. So there is a whole raft of these micro business skills courses that people can take on the eHub as well, which is a fantastic kind of way of utilizing your time and just building up your confidence and capacity in these first level business skills that are around there. And it's not just business skills. We also have on the eHub information and short courses on IT skills up to sort of intermediate level in all the main MS Office products and software. And these are all free, open access support packages that are available to any RGU student who's actually registered. Okay. And the final thing, and I've kind of highlighted that a little bit as well, is that it's not just about getting the job. Because all our alumni, all our graduates continue to have access to the eHub, they can take advantage of our starting work, developing early stage career professional support, where they can actually think about managing their career into the future. How do they make a positive impression in the workplace? How do they grow and develop their portfolio, their experience in the workplace, so that they can take advantage of opportunities and move into middle stages of their career development. Other interesting things in terms of upskilling, we have on the eHub as well. We have simulated tools like the CV 360 tool, where you can actually design and develop your CV. You can run it through the system, and the system will give you a AI-generated percentage score and development points as to how your CV is shaping up and what you need to do to take it to the next level. We have Interview 360, which is an online interview platform where you can actually look at a wide range of interview questions, find out why employers would be asking you this, find out template responses to these kind of questions, how to make a good impression responding to those questions, and you can actually run an actual simulated interview through the system, and the system will actually ask you the questions. You can record yourself responding to those questions, and you can give us access through eHub to the file of that, and as a careers consultant we can look at it and provide you with value-added commentary and developmental commentary on those kind of things as well. Just to give you an idea of how sophisticated the system is, and I'm really quite impressed by the system, you can actually upload your own CV into Interview 360. The system will AI read your CV and generate a bespoke interview template that is based around information that's contained within your CV, so that it can simulate and home in interview questions that would be quite tailored to you and your career areas, your interests, etc. around there. The final thing that we would have in terms of career development is our career tracker tool, and we actively encourage students to undertake career tracker right at the beginning of their studies with us. And it's about career confidence. The system asks you a wide range of questions about a wide range of career and employability type topics. You rank yourself in terms of your personal understanding, your personal confidence in those kind of areas. And then the system will then generate a bespoke learning plan for you to help you move forward with the required learning, to help you move forward with your confidence and capacity in anything that you feel is maybe slightly weaker in that kind of area. And what we recommend is that you do the career tracker program maybe every 6 months or so with us, or at the end of every term, and it helps you understand how your career planning, how your career confidence is actually growing and developing at the expense of all the inputs and support that the careers team and the employability hub is able to deliver for you. Okay. Students are always interested in jobs and getting the right professional, getting the right graduate job for themselves at the end of their course. And we run a wide range of support events and activities to connect students with employers, to connect students with opportunities that are actually out there. In partnership with local Scottish universities, Northeast universities, we run the North of Scotland Graduate Recruitment Fair on an annual basis. That's a large-scale physical, it's been online for the last couple of years, but we're looking to move it back to a physical event where we have a large number of local, national and international employers come to Aberdeen to meet with students, to present their opportunities directly to them. We also partner in terms of higher education institutions across the whole of Scotland and participate in Scotland's Graduate Fair. We also don't just connect with other universities and deliver partner fairs. We also internally in RGU, we run a wide range of vocationally specific jobs fairs on an annual basis. For example, finance, pharmacy, life sciences, law, where we run and connect with a range of employers and invite them into the university to present their opportunities directly to students who are actually studying those particular courses. Okay. We also have what we call Employer on Campus, Coffee Connect type sessions, where we have a wide program across both of our academic teaching terms of employers coming onto campus, where you can meet with them directly, have a coffee with them, get to understand the organisation, their opportunities, find out if that opportunity in that organisation is right for you, get some insider information as to how you can design your CV, how you can effectively apply to these organisations so that you can actually stand as best chance possible in securing an opportunity with them. And because they're choosing to come on campus in RGU, they're actually preferring the RGU student, the RGU graduate as their candidate of choice when it comes to filling their vacancies around there. Okay. We also run on an annual basis What's Next conference, which is a 3-day conference. It used to be physical, it will be physical again, but we've run it on a virtual environment over the last couple of years. And that is a conference which is designed specifically for graduating students who are interested in finding out a little bit more about their employability. There's a whole range of sessions built into there, some delivered by myself and my team, some delivered by our employer partner, some delivered by other areas of the university. And it's designed to effectively prepare people from the transition from academic study into the world of work, to connect with employers, to understand the recruitment processes in the UK, to excel through those recruitment processes, to make network connections and secure employment and increase their employability through that area. We also provide all our students with access to our online jobs platform, eHub Jobs, which advertises opportunities that have come directly from our employer partners who are specifically keen to recruit an RGU graduate or RGU student into their organisation. But we don't just rely on that one platform. We also have a system where we review and present to our students a wide range of vacancy sources, professional graduate level vacancy sources out there, and we have presented those in a way that students can actually find sources of vacancies that are relevant to them, relevant to their career ambitions, the sector they want to work in, the type of employer that they want to work in as well. But we do a wide range of these kind of activities, resources, tools, etc., to help connect our students with real life opportunities that are actually in there. And the last kind of discussion point that Mega asked me to look at was about industry connections and so like trends, etc. What I want to tell you about is I head up the professional careers guidance team, but I also have and work in partnership with another team in the Employability Hub, our employer engagement team, which is a team which is dedicated to connect with employer partners on a local, national and international level to make them aware of RGU, what we do, how we train our graduates, why they should be interested in recruiting directly from RGU. It's all of these kind of things are there, and they're very successful in maintaining long-term relationships with recruiters out there who recruit year upon year upon year upon year RGU talent into their organisations. But we also go out there and are very keen and very active in bringing new employer connections into the university so that we can expand out the range of employers out there who are specifically looking for and specifically interested in RGU talent to fill their opportunities. We also have that employer engagement team, that industry connection team, because what we need to find out from employers is what's actually happening in the marketplace. How are you actually recruiting our students? What processes are you using? What impresses you in a CV? What impresses you in an applicant who's going through an interview type situation? We need to bring that information back from the employers, feed it into our guidance practice, feed it into our workshops, feed it into our employability enhancement award, so that our students, including our international students, are getting that first level, accurate, up to the minute information as to what employers are actually doing in terms of recruitment, in terms of selection, in terms of selection processes, etc. Okay, and the reason for that, or the output of that, I should say, is that, as you'll be aware, and I think Megan mentioned this in the introduction, that we are consistently in the top division, top of any league when it comes to employability rankings. Our graduates are not finding it difficult to connect with employers, to impress employers, and actually secure professional level, graduate level opportunities with those employers. And part of the reason for that is that industry connection. Not only is it industry connection in terms of careers, but industry connection in terms of the way that we design and build our courses. Each course at the university or each discipline area at the university has an employer panel built into it who provide feedback, who provide information to the university as to how we can grow, develop, manage our courses, our modules, etc., so that they are relevant to the employment needs of industry today and tomorrow around that kind of area. So it's preparing you for, to be effective in the job market today, apply your skills, impress your skills and move your career forward, but also to be effective for the next 5, the next 10, the next 15 years of your career as well. Okay. That's really all I wanted to say in terms of discussion, and I'm quite happy now to move into the questions area.
Okay, so thank you so much, Bill, because you have covered all important aspects, starting from support given to international students till industry connection. And I think, it is a lot of learning for all of us. including me. I am very impressed with a lot of points which were covered, especially the badge one. Like if I'm coming to RG to study, I'll try to earn that badge. That is going to help my visibility. So,
Indeed.
so we have couple of and a lot of insights you shared, like which is very new to us. So I'll have some questions to discuss with you, so that we get a lot of benefit to our broader audience, whosoever is
Mhm.
watching us live and whosoever is watching this video at later date. So my first question is coming up from your discussion only. Uh, as it looks like employers have changed their way of approaching. It's not like
Mhm.
only just, as you mentioned, like it's not only like general advertisement. It's more like, coming through a social media connect and more of networking. So,
Yeah.
if I'm understanding it correctly, so my question would be, what would be your advice to international students who are traveling to UK and Scotland and the places first time? What are the key points they should remember so they are so active in networking? Because it takes time. It will take time, but what are the
Yeah.
things they should remember while they are on shore there to start with?
Okay. Okay. I think to start with, one of the key things is to start local. And what I mean by local is start with RGU. We have an established network of alumni in the UK and internationally based around there. And no, and making those connections first to perhaps graduates who have been on your course previously and graduated in the last 2 or 5 years out. Connect with them. They better understand what it's like to be a job seeker. They better understand what it's like to be a first level professional, early career person in those kind of areas. And be, I think, a little bit more sophisticated in the use of social media. I think if you go to your connections and take the attitude, oh, I'm connecting with you only because I think you can get me a job, people will see that quite quickly and they will just cut you off completely. It's about, I've been inspired by your LinkedIn profile. I'm really ambitious to follow your example and experience the same success you have. What hints and tips would you have for me in emulating your success? Could I maybe ask you to have a look at my CV? Do you think my CV is fit for purpose? All of those kind of more subtle employability, relationship, flattery, even kind of things around there. And the second tip, I would say, top level tip, is to focus in on quality of connections rather than quantity of connections. Yeah, it might sound impressive to have 500 connections on your LinkedIn profile, but how can you possibly know these 500 people in any meaningful way? It's far better to have a small number of people who are directly related to you, people you're directly connected with, perhaps through the shared community of RGU. And that would be the two bits of advice that I would do. Start local, connect with RGU alumni who have done your course, working in the industries, working in the jobs you're interested in, and don't get obsessed by numbers of connections. It's about quality and relationship more than numbers.
This is amazing. Like, I'm speechless with the answer because it is very, very valuable. And I think a lot of time people just run behind number of connections they can make rather than,
Yep.
What works and what not works. So my
Exactly.
next
I'll
question
point
would
out
be,
as well,
yeah.
one of our topics in our Employability Enhancement Award is all about networking, using LinkedIn, how to be professional.
I never thought that everybody will study that how to use the LinkedIn, and I think this is going to be a very interesting element to study for sure. Coming to the second question, Will, this is coming to you actually because you can tell from your perspective. In this current pandemic, as a career consultant or as a university, what was the biggest challenge to overcome, and how you people tackle this to turn it into a positive for international student and domestic too?
Yeah, it's for us, and I think I maybe covered some of it in the workshop. It was about overturning negative media perception and presenting our students with an even factually based understanding of what's really happening in the marketplace. Because what we were finding initially is students were reading all these negative press stories about mass redundancies and the collapse of the economy and all these kind of things. And a lot of students were taking the view, what's the point of even trying? There is nothing out there. So our job was to counter that with research, our own internal research, but also research from bodies that we're linked to, like the Association of Graduate Careers Advisory Services, the Institute of Student Employers, who have done a lot of research in this area to have evidence to show, 70% of employers and 70% of opportunities are still out there during the pandemic. Yes, they're maybe not advertising, and the reason that they're not advertising, because if you're losing staff at one level, perhaps a lower level or an upper level, it can be quite difficult in terms of staff relations to be continuing to advertise opportunities in the middle. So they stopped advertising the opportunities in the middle, but the middle didn't go away. It's just that the way they recruited to that middle changed. They relied on speculative, networked, LinkedIn, direct approach type activity to go in there. And students who were successful in developing an online profile, reaching out to employers, promoting themselves directly to employers, what we found is that they were far, far more successful in securing graduate and first level professional positions than those that just sat around and trawled websites, jobs board websites looking for opportunities.
I think this is the demand of time. Actually, wherever you are in the world, you need to be so positive, and you need to focus on the positive aspect to reach to a positive outcome.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. My next question would be, and this question will come into the picture only because of pandemic. Again, everybody is talking in the world about virtual internship. People never thought like they'll be doing internship virtually. So if you can throw some light around it, and especially for those ones who are not having in detail or any idea about this, and their program includes some kind of virtual internship, what it is all about, how it is going to help a student to gain experience. Even I can say that sitting at home or sitting in the classroom, how they get the benefit out of it.
I mean, I think as you'll appreciate that, and hopefully understand as well, a large number of our courses at RGU have work experience, work placement as part of the learning process, which is an academic credited part of their course. And what we saw during the pandemic is that virtually all of those placements turned into virtual opportunities. It was quite scary to begin with, because we didn't know necessarily what we were doing or how to support our students. The employers who were hosting these work internships, work experience placements, again, were a bit unsure as to what was happening. However, what we actually found as time went on, and as employers and core staff got familiar with working from home and being productive and delivering from home, then the virtual placement just kind of fell naturally into that kind of area. What we were doing in the university was providing information and advice around how to work from home. How do you use video conferencing platforms effectively? How do you host a meeting effectively? We were also supporting employers with ideas as to how they can actually monitor and assess students as they're going through their industrial placement around there. As the pandemic is coming to an end, or at least subsiding significantly in the UK, what we're seeing is that employers are beginning to revert back to physical placements again, physical experiences. However, I think moving forward, there will be very much a blended approach to physical placement and virtual placement. And in fact, what we might find is that people will be required to attend the office for a period during the week, or for a set number of weeks during a wider placement opportunity, and they would work from home. They would work virtually on projects, on activities, which they would then feed into the wider organisation as part of their experience. So it went wholesale virtual. It's going back to a lot more activity as physical, but I think the future will be blended around those kind of areas. I think what we need to do is help students actually understand what they've got out of being able to manage a virtual work placement as well. How have they managed their time? How have they remained motivated? How have they overcome problems that they faced during their virtual internship, their virtual placement? How did they work effectively as a virtual team? And helping them understand how they've grown as a wider professional through all of those skill development things, rather than just focusing in on the placement happened to be virtual. Yeah, it was virtual, but so what? This is how I contributed, this is how I grew, skills. This is how I demonstrated my professionalism because of the way I managed myself and delivered through that virtual placement.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and looks like we are moving towards virtual to hybrid before we reach to the physical and face-to-face, and we all look forward to that. I have a request if you can spend few minutes to talk about how the job market and otherwise the situation is rebuilding, because I recall 6 days back reading into a UK newspaper, like things are improving a lot. Job market is booming and things are improving, and even everything is like on a positive side. If you can throw some light on that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly as economic restrictions that were in place over the pandemic have been relaxed, certainly the UK has experienced a bit of a boom in terms of recruitment practices. One of the things that we need to be aware of is the Brexit agenda. Although you might think the Brexit agenda might not directly impact on international or Indian students, it actually does. Because with a booming economy and a high demand for graduate level talent from the UK employers, a lot of that talent may have previously been filled by European talent coming in as part of the European Union. However, as the UK has taken steps to take steps away from the European Union in terms of Brexit, a lot of European students are no longer coming to the UK. They're no longer looking for opportunities in the UK. That has actually heightened the skills gap at graduate professional level, which means that there's even more opportunity for international students to come into the UK, remain in the UK, take advantage of really good level jobs and sustain future in the UK around that as well. Okay. At the moment, there is a recognised skill shortage at professional level, first level graduate roles. The UK is not producing enough homegrown graduates to meet the demands of industry. We have to look at other sources, and our international students who have been trained in a UK university are the ideal candidates to support the UK in matching that skills gap. I'm going to bring my colleague Fiona in on this because she might have a different take, she might have a different idea around that kind of question.
Hi, sorry. No, I would agree with you, Will, and I guess, one of the areas in particular that there are lots of opportunities is more of the technology sector. So a lot of the students who've done IT related courses, software development, all of those sorts of things tend to do very well in the employment market, I would say. There's always gaps, so that's an area that students could certainly focus on if they're thinking of doing courses like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Fiona, when we talk about artificial intelligence and data science, especially the data science, I believe it is doing very well in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All of that sector is really quite buoyant, and those who are graduating from those courses don't tend to be waiting around long to secure a position. So yeah, that's great for us.
I think people on the outside don't really fully understand the impact AI is having, not just on technology, but on a whole range of different employment sectors and stuff like that as well. For example, AI in terms of enhancing the customer experience in an online retail environment is particularly big. AI and robotics and data analytics in terms of how we support people who require social care in the future is definitely going to be one of the key areas around that as well. However, what I would want to bring in there is a plea around, or an understanding certainly, that what we feel has happened with COVID-19 and the pandemic is it's really hastened the onset of the fourth industrial revolution. Yeah, the fourth industrial revolution was always bubbling away in the background, and the world of work was changing in terms of the use of technology, the use of artificial learning systems, the use of data and all that kind of thing around there. So I think the pandemic has hastened that coming forward. And what we're actually finding is that there is still a niche in the market for human skills, for people to be people and to relate to other people and to work with other people. And I think AI and data and that is streamlining the process in the background, providing new insight, providing new ways in which people can connect together. But what we're finding within the context of the fourth industrial revolution is that people still need to connect with people, and they still need to provide that human aspect, that human value added insight into whatever work context that they're actually doing. And AI is there to support that. It's not there to overtake that, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And I have two more questions before we close. I'm sorry for asking so many questions, but these are keep coming from the team. So I think this will help us to understand and build on it. So how you are finding this international management or project management or international business market? If people who are graduating with these programs, what kind of opportunities or things are waiting for them?
Yeah. What we're finding with people coming out with those types of qualifications is that they are finding positions within the UK, within organisations who have either an international supply chain or an international market, and they are being the key driver in that organisation for, from the UK context, pushing out to that supply chain, pushing out to that customer base within there. We are seeing a small but increase and sustained increase of students actually with their UK knowledge and their experience of studying in the UK and perhaps doing a work experience being really attractive to international organisations who are based out with the UK, and that individual being their eyes, their ears for the driver for exploiting the UK market as a core from there. But certainly the international dimension of management, of business, of leadership is becoming increasingly important, and I think it's becoming one of the key things employers are looking for. I think with the advent of the fourth industrial revolution, with enhances in technology and AI, the world is looking outwards, okay, rather than looking inwards. And people who have that kind of global business, international kind of mindset definitely have the advantage, I would say.
And last question before we close, and we would be very grateful if you can share your advice to international students who are planning to study there and come there. So what kind of things they should start doing to do upskilling and being prepared? Because as you said, like things begin before you travel, actually, before you commence the class.
Yeah.
So if you and Fiona jointly, and feel free to add on your advice.
Yeah. My feeling is, and Fiona will have her own opinions, I'm sure, on this, but my feeling is to think beyond the academic decision. Coming to university to do project management or supply chain management or oil and gas engineering, that essentially is an academic decision. But where is that academic decision actually leading in terms of your career ambition? And I think students need to spend a little bit more time thinking through the whole process from I'm in a job wherever it is in the world, in India, New Delhi. I'm thinking about gaining international experience by coming and doing a project management course at RGU. That's fantastic. That's great. It's certainly going to, improve your employability, open your horizons. But what does that mean for you in terms of careers? What are you thinking about in terms of what sectors you maybe want to work in, what areas of project management specialisms that you would maybe want to focus in on, rather than come here and then present with the kind of question, I'm doing project management, what jobs can I do with project management? I would say, well, if I'm investing no money to come to the UK to study this, I would probably want to already know what the outcomes were, or at least what the predicted outcomes are, before I actually invested that level of finance in my training and my development to make sure that everything was connecting through. Fiona, I don't know what your take on that would be.
Well, what I would say to prospective students is, one, to enjoy the experience. Coming to Scotland it's a wonderful country. It's very beautiful. There's lots to see and do. You want to have that enjoyment of the experience of being at university, and be quite proactive. Don't sit and wait till the last semester to start, engaging with resources like the careers and employability team. Get to know us in the early stages, because there's a lot of support we can give you, and there's a lot you can learn about applying for jobs in the UK, and there's lots to be gained by just reaching out to the other organisations within the university as well. Get involved, get involved in university life. You will meet people, you will get to know a lot about Scotland and working here just by reaching out and connecting with others, I would say. So yeah, be proactive, make connections early on. Don't just stay within the flat you're living in or the people on your course. Get involved in some of the activities on the campus at RGU.
I would totally agree with that. And sometimes I forget that coming to university, coming to a different country for your postgraduate education, etc. Yes, primarily it's about your degree because you have to get the qualification. That's what you're investing in the first place. But being a professional is much more than just having an appropriate qualification. It's about life experience. It's about developing skills. It's about developing networks. It's about developing wider cultural understandings and just enjoying the experience and growing and developing as a whole unique person, a whole unique professional, rather than just having the degree. Yeah, the degree might be central to all of that, but it's not uniquely that in its own right. And you need to spread out and engage and take advantage of the wider opportunities the university, the wider community, etc., provides for you to grow and develop as that professional.
I think we are now coming towards end, and it was a great session by both of you, Will and Fiona. And I think we have covered all important aspects, and it was very informative and valuable. So thank you so much for taking out time this morning from there. And we will look forward to have more sessions once time permits in future, so that we can keep informing students about these important aspects. And as you said, like academics is central, but you have to take care of a lot of other things while you are going. And as Fiona said, like experience matters a lot. You're coming to a beautiful country. So I think these important aspects we'll look forward to discuss in future again. And thanks for your time today and taking off all questions. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for your time, and I hope you got something positive out of it as an audience.
It was.
Okay.
It was. Thank you so much. Thanks, Megan, for organizing it. Thank you, Fiona.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.